So, what is continuous advancement? It will help to relate this topic firstly to something you may already be familiar with, a continuous improvement cycle. A continuous improvement cycle is commonplace in process and quality work the world over. It's a very valuable tool, and in simple terms, it works like this. We plan how we are going to do something. We then do the very thing we planned. We then stop to check on the results of what we did and how we may improve it. Then we act on the improvements we identified valid. And so, this cycle continues, as the name suggests, to continuously improve. Now back to the topic of continuous advancement. Let's call it CA for short. CA works on the same basis as continuous improvement, but we ask some uniquely different questions. Questions which give us some uniquely powerful answers. Rather than simply looking for improvement alone, we are now tuned into a greater awareness of these four very important factors: improvement, change, cyclical, and structural. The first two terms are likely something you already are familiar with. Improvement is the process of making something existing better. Change, on the other hand, suggests the existing can no longer be improved and something new is required. Although a simple sentiment, the potential differences in outcomes are profound. Now for the second two terms, cyclical and structural. Cyclical refers to a short-term shift where the current model is temporarily adjusted, but as the name suggests, it will cycle back to be current again. Structural, on the other hand, means that a fundamental and permanent shift is occurring, where the current model becomes totally obsolete. It will never cycle back to the way it was. So, to now truly understand CA, think of the continuous improvement cycle again, presenting its information to us. Whereas before we asked just one simple question, are we dealing with an improvement? Now, we are asking four very different questions. Are we dealing with 1. A cyclical improvement, 2. A cyclical change, 3. A structural improvement, or 4. A structural change? Let me give you an example for each. A cafe had a fixed daily menu for both breakfast and lunch. Clients then asked for some different things to eat, over and above the fixed menu, at both breakfast and lunch times. These improvements were made and the menu cycles between these two improvements at separate times of the day. This is cyclical improvement. Next, imagine the change in seasons means a woman's clothing store must change their stock from winter clothes to spring garments. This is a distinct change, and the winter clothes will no longer be available now whilst the spring garments are in stock. But they will cycle back in the next winter season. This is a cyclical change. An organization upgraded its internet connection from copper line to fiber optic. It had an internet connection and still retains an internet connection, but the connection has been permanently and structurally improved. This is a structural improvement. Now consider the big one. The invention of the production motor car caused a permanent structural change within the horse-drawn cart industry. No longer was it viable to produce carts with this modern technology making them irrelevant. This big shift is a structural change. So, these new questions provide us with much bigger possibilities. Possibilities which must be considered in this very fast-paced and rapidly changing business world we now live in. Disruption is now commonplace, and it's not slowing down. We will explore the method of CA and how to implement this later in the course roadmap chapter. But for now, it is vital that you consider CA as a principle within NextGile thinking. It is both a tool and skill you can practically use to make the most of all principles of NextGile. Responsibility, RAS, procession, system, leverage, and quality can all be enhanced with the application of a cycle of continuous advancement to utilize all that these other elements have to offer.